at the end of February. And so Shalacia is stepping into that role, just doing a really amazing job. And in his absence, Daniel is one of our CAOs. Before that, Daniel was actually an outreach coordinator, left. And then this person came back as a supervising officer. But he is going to be starring in the Broadway show, Scribes and Branches, and it's going to be shown on March 21st and March 22nd. So tickets are available for those who want to go check Daniel out. And so Daniel has like a performance background, but Daniel also is very fluent in Spanish. So very talented individual, very blessed to have on our team.
There you go. Thank you. And now we'll do approval of minutes. Everybody take a second to review those. And I would to approve.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor say aye. All right, you're receiving public comment.
No, that's not.
Thank you. Now we'll go to program updates. Starting with 529.
Good morning, everyone. Here are our numbers as of February 28th, 2026. Our Star Savings accounts are now at 83,629 active accounts with 1.8 billion invested. Start K-12, a little over 5,000 accounts with 49 million invested. And LA Able, a little over 1,600 accounts with almost 13 million invested. In total, we now have 90,000 accounts, which is a new record for us, and 1.9 billion invested, reaching and inching up to that 2 billion slowly but surely. And we're doing great.
I'll just say that I have a colleague who has a 529 and her daughter, who's graduating this semester this year, and all she talks about is this 529. God has all this money in this 529. So she'll be able to pay for college just about the prayer and have extra. So it's really cool. Thank you. Thanks. Next, apologize for the excessive.
Hello. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. So we are going to look at our events and systems that we have provided so far. So for events, we virtual and face-to-face, we have a combination of 529. Of course, the both of those are face-to-face, but we do still do a fair amount of virtual events throughout the year. And then for our virtual office hours, 180 that have been completed since July 1 of 2025. And the breakdown is kind of about what you expect to see with top retention at the top, because we're kind of in the semester right now, and then MJ Foster as well following. And then the initial eligibility will likely kick up as we get closer to May process. And this is a snippet of our Salesforce case activity. So I've said before, and we actually kind of surpassed a bit of a milestone, closing 5,000 cases so far. Our comprehensive advising officers, again, those are the ones who have kind of longer term cases. And so they kind of hover somewhere around that 350, 400 mark with the number of cases that they are currently advising. But with our outreach coordinators and our IAOs, they have 70 cases right now. And so this is kind of the calm before the storm. We're in the quieter season. Last year, during processing season, the outreach coordinators and IAOs together closed over 1,000 cases from June, July, August alone. That's in addition to answering over 8,000 phone calls, over 6,000 emails, and managing like an active load of like 57 cases. So This is downtime, but we absolutely expect these numbers to kind of sky high, after the summer rush has passed. And so this is Delrisha at an HBCU college fair in Lafayette, where she was able to go and provide information for those students on our programs and some of the services that we offer. And we are also excited that LOSFA was invited to participate as a state partner with CHIO and NDRC. They're doing a holistic advice and success project that's going to be 2 years. And so we were not able to be part of the official cohort, which comes with lots of funding, but they were very impressed with our interest letter. And so they invited us to be a state partner. So super excited about that. The CAOs have been around since I think 2023, so still a newer position. So it'd be really exciting for us to kind of be in the same space with some of these other state agencies. Just to kind of learn from what they're doing and then also kind of share out on what we're doing as well. So we're really looking forward to that. The individuals that will be on that team will be myself, Kylie, and the 2 CAO supervisors, Charnel Tatton, she's here, and Mr. Darius Furlow. And we've had 2 individuals complete their NCAN certified advisor badges. That's going to be April and Nick, who is also here. Of course, we do these year round. They renew each year, and then we just make sure that the team is up to speed and they get these renewed every year because they like update all of the courses, like on FAFSA training, financial aid advising. So it just kind of helps keep everybody sharp. And then with our networking group, they also kicked off for the spring semester. So one of the first 2 sessions that they did, one speakered a speaker from Oshner, Courtney Hunt, and so she was able to do like a really engaging presentation with the students on the blueprint for success, kind of talking about goal setting for the year and how to stay motivated for the rest of 2026. And then the next month they did Falling in Love with Your Future, where they did career matchmaking. So they try to have like relevant content, relevant speakers that come in and engage with students. And then they were also able to give some swag away to those students as well. And those are just some screenshots and some of the engagement activities that they did with those students. And then we had several FAFSA completion events, of course, that's ongoing. Here you see Lakonga, and she is at Geo Next Generation High School, which is on BRCC's campus. So she was able to do a FAFSA completion event for them. And then we also see Lakonga at Huntville High School. And this is probably like the 3rd or 4th time that we've been to Huntville. And kind of looking at the FAFSA numbers from last year that actually have like a 28.8% increase in FAFSA completions. So it's, yeah, so you can see that it does help that we're there. If we have to go more than once, we're more than happy to do that. And this is Summer at Magnolia School of Excellence, also doing a FAFSA completion workshop. And then we went to General Trust. So we were there as well, doing their FAFSA completion workshop. And so this summer was co-located at ULM. So it does help to have someone in that particular area as far as outreach is concerned. And Charnel, this is her 3rd year serving on the panel for UHI for their career fair. So we have a long-standing relationship with UHI. I actually have a virtual top seminar with their parents next week. So this is just one of the ways that it's kind of like expanded. We usually go out at least once a year to do their top FAFSA seminar with their parents, but then also career fair kind of adds just another component to the work that we do with Christy Rimion and her team. And I almost, in the kerfluffle, like getting everything compiled, I almost forgot this, and this is one of the things that I was really excited to share with you all, is that we were contacted by Basis Baton Rouge Terra campus. And so until I talked to Dr. Craig, I was not aware of the school leader, the head of the school, and his role in part, which apparently he was featured on the Today Show. So he is.
He's done all over.
Yeah, I'm not on TikTok, so I did not know. But sure enough, They were super excited to have us there. They are having their first graduating class next year. So that'll be their first cohort of seniors. They already have us on the books. I will be going back in November to do their FAFSA completion workshop. Their parents were just like full of questions. And true to form, Mr. Lamb came in his course.
That's his office.
Yeah, he rolled on in and kind of working, did introductions and spoke to the parents. So just really excited for the school. Just excited just to be able to meet the parents and the students as well. And we wrapped up our FAFSA Frenzy Week in February, last week of February. And total, we had over 120 students that participated in FAFSA Frenzy Week. So with the FAFSA being easier, it's getting really, easier lift, so to speak, for them to be able to go in, fill it out, complete the form. But it's always nice to kind of have an opportunity for hands-on engagement and assistance. So shout out to all the institutions that paired with us for FAFSA Frenzy. We were able to send some socks, FAFSA socks, and some goodies for them to use for prizes. And then this is me at the LOSFA conference standing in for Dr. Reed for the panelists. And this year they kind of focused on affordability, access, workforce alignment. So myself, those awesome people up there, was able to participate in that plenary session. I think this is probably like the third year that I have been invited or gone to LOSFA. 1 year, Kyle and I were FAFSA panelists. The year before that, when the Better FAFSA rolled out, we were able to do a session for their professionals that do FAFSA completion. So very good relationship with these individuals as well. And Derek assignment it's like the trio different. And then the student network group, actually, most of the time, I know we showed screenshots, their version, but they actually went on tour. So they did some in-person events with JCFA. They have a campus here in Baton Rouge. So what started as, I think, October of last year, they had done some like in-person events, and they expressed the desire to kind of have more of that on a regular basis. So this is kind of where this developed at. And so Damien and Nick back there as well, and Charnel have been working with their 11th, 12th grade students on kind of career exploration, lifestyle ideas, and kind of giving them the information that they need about financial aid as well. So this is kind of the start of this, so we continue to expect to see more of this down the line, this sort of collaboration too. And these are just pictures from those events. Back to FAFSA completion. So the Cowan Institute with Tulane has pulled some data. So looking at their data, they do show that Orleans schools have shown a 11% increase in FAFSA completion. And so again, the thing that I kind of want to point out is that of all these schools up here, we've done at least 12 FAFSA completion events in that area. We have another co-located team member, Kelly C. Merritt, who is located at Delgado. She's also a New Orleans native. So she knows the ins and outs of New Orleans, which is unique. And so she is always willing to pick up those events and be very much present in those schools. So we are excited to be a part of the great things that New Orleans is doing as well. And then April and I went to the Lacan winter convening. So we were at the first convening, and then we went to the second. Where we're able to kind of sit down with other individuals in the room to kind of think about where, like what the mission will be, kind of where is this going, taking a look at who's in the room, who needs to be in the room, and then kind of looking at priority areas with data and research, practitioner support, policy, and advocacy. So we are looking forward to different ways that LOSFA can help contribute to this work. Then we had our MJ Foster Promise Program Scholar Connect. It's a mouthful, which is facilitated by Damien Papillon, who's one of our CAOs, and our outreach coordinator for non-traditional students, TJ. And so they are able to send information to these students. Right now, the focus is on the funding. Of course, students have lots of questions about that. And then in addition to that programmatic piece, they also try to tie something from like industry engagement. For this particular Scholar Connect, Ms. Tanya was also here. came and presented information on the apprenticeship expo. And then there was also the HOSA Leadership Conference, and this is for HOSA, the acronym, HOSA is for the health occupations for students up here. Thank you, I love you by that. So they were able to, that's Daniel, Yvette, and Charnel that's pictured there, they were able to go and share with these students, especially from a financial aid aspect, kind of what they need to know. They're going to be matriculating. So sometimes after you get your bachelor's, the aid that's available can kind of look a little bit different at that point. So they were able to go serve as conference presenters, and share the knowledge that they had. And then for LHC group, this is a partnership that's kind of been going on for some time now, but the LHC group does pop into our SNG nursing networking group. And so those are virtual. They have students from all over the state that come to these student network groups, and they're able to pull professionals in from Ochsner LHC group, other relevant agencies or organizations to nursing or healthcare profession. And so LHC group is really awesome in that they do a book scholarship in the fall and they do one in the spring. And so they do a drawing each semester where they're able to identify a student. And so this year, the student that they identified was Megan, and she was presented her award by Chelsea Hopkins because she's in that Acadia area. And Chelsea is also another co-located team member at SOLA-CC. So she was able to present the funds to Megan, but just really excited about this, just the support that LHC provides for us to help those students with expenses. And this is Chelsea pictured with Megan, and that's the young lady who received the 2025 nursing scholarship from LHC. And then we did our spring TOPS processing webinar. So we started maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, maybe, because we noticed that there were some things that were kind of recurring. And so these are for high school counselors or administrators, basically, to tell them these are the list of things that we've done ahead of TOPS processing. To make sure that your students are not experiencing pain points over the summer because, you know, there's missing information or what have you. So we were able to get that done. We did 2 sessions, same information one over 2 days to kind of give them some options. And we also were able to send, like, you pick a winner, you see on the screen, the wants to be a millionaire. So we played a little game. Robin gave us some of the information. It was hard. Some of the questions. Nobody got a bunch of this.
You needed trick questions.
Right. And Val did 3 questions. So they were really excited. One of the counselors was like, "Oh, I'm expecting all these goodies. I love it." So we're really happy with how it turned out for this year.
All right, everybody, an update on our communications and partnership efforts. So some highlights of some things we're working on in communications. We have our website transitions, working with Dr. Scanlon, along with the vendor mesh, our transition to that platform, that BOR, longer transition. BOR and SEP already over. So if you take a look at those websites, you'll see LOSFA site look like as well. But Austin will your transition over the same deal in May for that. And so we'll have something that's a little more up to date. We've worked on our reports and our obligations for Dr. Gregg for the 2026 legislative session. We've updated some of our office signage to reflect that the same BOR as well as some of the staff from Skin and Safety programs are here on the 6th count. Want everyone to feel welcomed, and everyone comes into our office. There's more than just loss. We will be sending out soon our 2025 reflections with transitions and other things going on. We usually try to send that out late January or February. If we send it out too early, people don't read it. So try to send it out a little later. It's one of the things that's going on. It's going out a little bit later than anticipated. We haven't been sent out to the advisory board, BOR, and first about the legislature partners that we have. We have updated our 529 safety programs, applications, like some of the recent legislative changes that have taken place. And right now, we have regional campaigns for College Commitment and Attainment Month. We will be working with LCTCS promoting their events they have for LCTCS College Week, and then carry over into National College Month. We have events in conjunction with them. We'll have our fly to work and our match-game show. So we're very thankful to them partnering with us and having us at those events. For media mentions, we have the Louisiana Illuminator talks about budget discussions in the legislative session, discusses some of our programs, our grant programs. The Apprenticeship Expo is also featured on WBRC, so excited to hear that. And then for Fast Frenzy, the fastest in themselves is featured as well. For our social media metrics, our total views 190,000, so reached over 70,000 and 803 interactions. Our top performing posts, the Apprenticeship Expo, continuing top, so navigating the option. Always make sure to send that out, letting students and parents know that there are two options for applying for TOPS. The TOPS online application and the FAFSA. I want people to know that you do not have to complete the FAFSA in order to apply for jobs. And then our FAFSA forensic. For website traffic, over 100,000 page views, over 70,000 users. Organic search needs to be the number one way through Google that you will find our website. And then we have direct as well, so that people going directly to our website by typing in the address or looking for information about financial aid in Louisiana. And then for partnership and engagement highlights, we LMC Group recently had our facility tour Side High School. Thank you to Tanya Evans for organizing that. And then departments OCC and Allied Health to connect their students as well. We recently had our LA Able webinar. Thank you to boards for participating in that and organizing that. We discussed the updates to the LA Able program that are next in 2026. And we had great participation and lots of positive feedback. We're working on our summer facility tours, Energy, our summer camp promotion, running the summer camps that are hosted around the state, as well as our individual institutions, particularly those that are career. We also have our partnership database for so that we can make it a little bit easier to keep track of who we're working with, who our contact is, what the partnership consists of currently, and then some things we would like to advance in the partnership as well. We put together a team, a foster care focus team, so that we could figure out better ways to connect that population with resources as well as to promote the chafing program. And we have our LED Fast Start pilot program promoting career opportunities in Louisiana to our AJ foster students. And we're working with the Santa Department of Veterans Affairs to share information with veteran population to receive credentialing in high school. For our virtual apprenticeship expo, we normally hold this in November. That has been the best time. So the last one that we had prior to this was in 2024. Because of the cyber incident, we're not able to hold it in November 2025. So we did it in March of this year. The spring is just not as good as testing.
Yeah.
So last time we had it, we had 19 participants. I was hoping for at least 500 for the spring. We had 600. So we're looking forward to having that return to its time next year, well, this year, so that it was that perspective. But thank you to Tanya for working with our partners, Oxford Health Group, Sienna Restaurant Association, South Fabricators of Dow Chemical, presented the opportunities they have. We're during National Apprenticeship Week, April 26th or May 2nd, continue to share opportunities to students.
Just for clarity, so we'll have another one in November.
Yes.
This one was kind of the same.
This was taking place. And then you also have a copy of the Justice Involved. Some highlights from that. We had 26 comprehensive advice cases that were specific to this population, as well as 30 great outreach events, and from that, we were able to serve 1,300 justice involved individuals. And some of the featured partnerships that were important to see, Little University of New Orleans, you know, let's get access to a very professional center. And then we had a case that we worked on, Mississippi Consortium for Higher Education. Any questions on?
Do you ever get questions that pertain, there was a big announcement, there's something going on in the student loan stuff as always. They featured it last night on several of the news programs, like at 5 o'clock, and like call in long, and I'm just wondering if people come back to you and come back to LOSFA and always expect LOSFA, they probably expect Christie too, to have these answers that. Do you get those calls?
When we do, we direct them to the federal financial aid side, because that's going to have to us up to date.
Right.
Information and things have been changing frequently. We did have a huge influx of calls and emails last year. After there were questions about if funding to these programs had been cut off or not. Ed, I don't know if you've seen any influx here lately, the announcements about the student loan.
I think that's the issue we're talking about, what's going on in the student loan forgiveness, and I was just guessing that they're always going to come back to this agency because you've helped them so much to get to where they are, to be able to ask the questions about what's.
Yeah,
We definitely had a lot of those last year.
and generally, if it's something general, like because we should be equipped to answer kind of general questions, but to Shane's point, so much has changed. We used to have a loan division here, we no longer do, and so we don't have, a lot of stuff we just don't have access to.
Right.
So we kind of answer what we can, and then it's kind of more specific, it's like to contact your lender. Yes. And figure out, whatever advice that they give.
And Kayla had actually worked on a presentation, information about what's going on, federal financial aid and student loan forgiveness. And I think it changed just a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Already been able to use that. So.
Another good piece of advice on student loans is, students have access to the NSLBS record, National Student Loan Data System. It actually shows down the loan for any federal aid they've received. So it's always a good point to have to sign up at NSLBS to monitor their account that way. So that's another point.
One clarification about that, the NWS support students, so if you see more, they can integrate with their FSA.
Also,
So on student.gov, it pulls in the data from NWS, it's student.gov.
Oh, right.
Not separate.
so not separate.
It's all integrated.
He used to have this LPS data. When we, even up until I guess 2 or 3 years ago, and we had to, delete those accounts, so. Well, access to those accounts, so some of the FSA account now.
It's every bit of student loan, so like there's still the financial aid professional access to NWS, because we have a lot of our functions. But the student version of that has just been integrated into student.gov account, so it's centralized there. That's the NWS, everything's in there.
That's good.
Also, as part of the website transition, we're going to have a section college and talk about federal financial aid. Also address opportunities for graduate students and a lot of information about the nomination. We're going to have some more direct links, information on federal opportunities.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Good morning, I'm the call. We're gonna go over our vote grant. Our actual billing deadline is March 24th next week. So that department has been working with all the system offices to let them know what their balances are and to have the billing in by next week so that see how much, but it's probably gonna be a little bit less than that process tomorrow. any funds that are remaining after the billing deadline and the correction period will be, reallocated to other schools who exhausted their deadline by March. Bang, John R. Justice. That program, did get a bit of good news yesterday.
Yes.
The solicitation came out, normally it comes out like in April, well, it comes out in July last year, and it did. So we thought we weren't gonna have any money for new applicants, but we did get a solicitation request yesterday, so we will be applying for funding. For attorneys, prosecutors, and public defenders, as well as federal public defenders, to receive funding. Our allocation for this year was $66,000. I looked at last year's solicitation, which is probably about $200,000 more than this one is, 2.4 million. So I'm not sure how much we're gonna receive because, if states decide not to participate, then it just increases the pot of money available for other states. So we've had as much as $110,000 to award to 10 attorneys and as low as 32,000. So it just depends on what the federal budget is and what states are participating. But that is good news because we do have some attorneys that are working and they're in their first year, so there was no solicitation, they would have to still work 2 more years for that small amount of money. So now they get to apply for more money and not increase their initial 3 years. So after they work their initial 3 years, as a prosecutor or public defender, then they get additional funding, they can, just work year for year for that going on. So that's good news for those that are, starting off.
When is that application due?
April, there are 2 systems, but they make it complicated, so you apply in SAMS by April 10th, and Just Grants by April 17th.
Okay.
So, the allocation, yeah, our application is pretty standard because you don't know how much money you're gonna get yet, so we put $1 in there, let legal review it. And we send it on, and then, just wait to hear from them, once they decide on the funding, they'll go for that. So we did have to, put our application back on our website, and instead of April 30th, we're going through June 1st. So that, the attorneys, and most of them would ask for extensions anyway because they had done their taxes, so now they have until June 1st. Submit their applications for, John R. Justice Student Loan Program. Next, okay. Yeah.
MJ Foster is another little bit of good news. We're able to process today, at 12, we have $24,717 of payments set to process. After that, as long as everything goes through and there are no errors, we're expected to have, $1,265.74 left over. So we will continue to process as we can, as refunds become available. And we'll also be working on next year's information with the potentially increased budget. With that, I think it's the first time we're processing. But working so well.
Can I ask a question about the MJ Foster application, because of our colleges, so even though we're adding money to the application, still moving.
Yes, one of the requirements is that students have to have an application on file every year, because we still have students that haven't applied yet. So like, say they don't make it in and have a 26 application on file, they go to apply for 27 next year, they'll be ineligible.
So what is the communication to those students who are applying today? Because I think our colleges are saying that LOSFA sending them to the college, which is fine, but I think it gives a student the sense that the college can do something and they're doing money, and we don't have money here. So can you walk me through like the communication flow of that?
Yeah, so we were able to get that updated, we're in the process of getting everything.
Okay.
So the application is updated, it's got a message on it, okay, grad funding. The applicants as of the 17 of Tuesday.
Yes.
Should be receiving a word letter that specifically states they are eligible for funding for the year. And, they'll be notified of changes, and then for students that were already eligible prior to that, they'll be getting specifically to down to their email and other things. And schools were also.
Volume challenge, $50,000, the initial allocation, make them aware that funding is being used. We awarded 5 this spring, so we used 35,000, with over half of the funding, for that particular program. On the top side, next slide, thank you. That just shows, billings by system. We did some communication asking schools to bill by today, just so, and sometimes, you get a student that's just resolved next week, of course you bill in, but for all of you students who were enrolled through the 14 class, they have to submit bills so that we can see where we are. Because around April 15th, we'll get notification from fiscal if we have enough money to pay for summer school. And if we do at that point, we'll have the summer school application available on our website that students will complete and take to the financial aid office for processing for summer awards. So billing is a slight change downward on the proprietary side as well as the bill system, but that may change by next month when they send us all the remaining billing for those students. Any questions?
Is there a breakdown of the different award levels? So I'd be curious to see.
We can have that information and sent to you when Tom's said that we'll have to get our IT to break down by award level.
I think the summer form may already be available.
Sorry,
The summer form, I think it's available on the website.
it's on the website, yeah, but we don't know if we'll have funding yet, so I know we actually told them hide until we know we have funding. We won't know until the middle of April.
I think it's open now. I don't think it's hidden.
Right, I'm saying, I have to get them to hide it probably until we know we have money available, so that they don't have the false impression that it's automatic, they'll get that funding available. So thank you.
Okay.
Hide that information out there.
Just one, Dr. Campbell, we do have the breakdown of level. I just got something last week, so okay.
Yeah, I know excellence, we've done 991, 1,200 students that were eligible for excellence and 991. Except
Yeah, it was good.
Especially since this year and
Yes.
approved in June and how sort of counts. So those students, they made a decision, I guess. It's for money, I'll say. So that was great. Okay. Any other questions? Thank you.
All right, well, so Robin and I are gonna tag team the executive director report. I'm gonna pass it to Robin. Really, we're just going to provide you with a legislative update. We figured that would be the most important thing that you would want to hear about. We are in the middle of week 2, middle of week 3, I don't know. I was there every day, Monday through yesterday, and all day, and all day in the morning. We also went through 2 money committees this week, which was great, and we did okay. So far, so good, I guess I should say. But we're gonna talk a little bit about a legislative update and just talk with you about the top bills that are out there. Some MJ Foster bills and the START bills that are the 529 bills.
Right, Robin, so you all have this.
Pass this out.
Those first 2 bills on the list, House Bill 113 and 229. Those don't directly amend top statutes, but they could affect budgeting and projections. So House Bill 113 makes retroactive the requirement that schools use a 10-point grading scale for all students going back to freshmen. When it was first passed, it was intended to be from that year going forward, no matter what grade level you were. This bill says that if you were a freshman, or if you were a junior, let's say, in 23-24, your freshman grades have to be converted to a 10-point scale this way. So that is what is trying to be done in HB 113. There was a push to do that last year, that felt really did done last year. It was not amended into one of the bills that are out there already, so we're gonna be watching that one. And then House Bill 229 prohibits the use of public funds for post-secondary programs that are low earning outcome. This is in line with the federal mandate, that will be, determined by, the federal. And the Board of Regents is required to track it. And so if it's low earning outcome programs, that could affect not only tops, but it could also affect possibly to foster. So it is
We're watching this one pretty closely because of especially our healthcare fields have some really important positions that fall into those low earning outcomes. And I mean, we need phlebotomists and we need CNAs, so in our healthcare professions, so more to come on that. We are planning to have some conversations with Rose. Yes.
How are they tracking the low income, like the low income earning outcome programs? Like, how are they getting that information?
that was.
Yes.
So that's what I was gonna basically kind of get clarification on how it's defined.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the way they're basically defining is that if average earnings from, was it a 4-year cohort, I want to say post graduation. It's three, I think, but it's complete years old, so it doesn't include students who started and stopped out. But it takes you 3-year cohort and it looks at their median earnings for that cohort and it compares it against your average high school graduate in your state of residence between the ages of 18 and 27. And if the median earnings of leaders are less than median earnings of that cohort, then it's considered an earning program.
Is why we're using that same definition.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And so that could impact a swath of programs.
Yeah.
That-
Not just healthcare, I just was using
Yeah.
that as an example,
Yeah,
but it could be very widespread.
very much. And then from a graduate program perspective, it's even more kind of, I'll say figures, it's more concerning is that the program for graduate earnings has to be, the median of that cohort has to be greater than the median of undergraduate completers in the same zip code. So if you have a graduate program that has the same zip code as an undergraduate program, their median earnings have to be higher than the median earnings of undergraduate in the same zip code, or undergraduate programs as a whole in terms of the statute. And so if you have, I always use this example in the conversations is social work. So a master's of social work typically is a low earning program compared to your average undergraduate earns more than a master's of social work, then that program loses federal eligibility potentially if it's state programs if they have those. So there's a lot of conversations about that.
Well,
And we're watching it closely.
the reason I was asking that question is because I mean, I'm thinking about this, it's like, when students are like exploring what do they want to pursue, like, it would be better to have that conversation, hey, right now, this is a lower income earning than this, so. There's a list of like programs, like, I know when they figure it out, like, it would just be easier just to inform the students as they're in 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 grade, going into the next level. Like, hey, here's where this is, here's just so you know, like, not trying to change your mind, but here's kind of how it will impact you.
Yeah, and I think the first recording cohort comes out next year, if you're fall 27th. So that's when you're first gonna have the first listing programs.
That's
They're gonna do together. And so there's a lot of nuance in there to and on the number of students in a program over a period of time.
So.
Yeah.
It's just, well, then we have to say there was just a big shift at the federal level on how to say. And I think that, I think in the last week I've seen like 10 articles about. Hiring is stuck in the old times and we need to change, I'm following the same types of programs that aren't. They say. And I think they're valuable points because why we have general studies, it leads people to poverty. And they're taking out loans and they're not actually getting a valuable credential potentially, right? So if there is a placeholder for certain things, so it's not like we don't need it, but wouldn't we be better off trying to really help that student get into a program that can lead them to a job? And so I think the articles bring up some valuable points, and I think the feds are kind of, they're doing that and pressure on college by time, technically. So they're saying, if you're gonna continue to do this, that's fine, but we're gonna take it from you. And I think is it that they're getting, like, they're gonna spend it loans for times?
Well, it starts off with loans for the programs, so it's
Yeah.
program specific, so that is one of the benefits, it's not, doesn't mean to get your institution.
They
So,
could though.
well, and that's to say, so it initially starts as loans for the initial suspension period. You have an initial process. But then it can expand to all type for that program if it continues. Then, if more than 50% of your total student population is comprised in that program, they promote Title IV eligibility in the entire institution. Because they're basically saying you're not administratively is the definition that we're using. Where I take big issue with this piece of legislation, such impacts that it penalizes institutions for the labor market, which institutions have no.
That's correct.
So you're basically saying, okay, well, these students aren't making much money, so we're gonna take the money away to train them. Well, what do the schools have to do with that?
And one of the, at our last council meeting, brought up that, it's like, okay, you want this program to stay on this list, this is an industry, I need you to pay it all.
You need to, it's like,
Right.
it's like 50 cents for one of these at the
And if
hour.
you're gonna continue to be eligible person, so. Yes, it's a Title IV higher education issue, but it is a job market, business and industry issue too, because they continue to pay their wages. Even if it's high demand, they're at risk.
That's right.
The pool of people is gonna make you that way. Every what they need to come into that profession.
And you're disproportionately cutting people from access.
Right. It's only other reasons.
Yeah, I've got a lot of points with that conversation.
You can still argue, but like, I would get bogged down because it's not something I work with every day, but I know if I see keywords and I'm like, this, the impact is here, but it's gonna, it's pipelining that way, so that's what I was.
Well, and I think
I appreciate
to
you
your point is that like, we have to start thinking about these things in K-12. Right, if you don't start talking about it there, by the time they get to their freshman year, it's too late. Like, they've already made up their mind. They may or may not know what they wanna do. Career services is on the back end still for most institutions, so trying to figure out how to capture.
Well, and to that point, like the CTE that we're pushing in the high school, I mean, junior high schools, like, I know that there was this chart that I sent you though, like if they earned NCCR core, then it was an equivalency here, and so like even that part of it is helpful whenever this money gets cut, because if they earn the equivalency in high school as a core, it makes it a little bit easier on them, so.
Programs that the humanities are done, so.
So,
It is.
People who maybe want, maybe philosophy or like sociology studies, why all these things would happen.
well, the whole intention of the legislation is to eliminate funding for, programs where the student is not better off for having gone to that program. That is the whole federal intention. Student is not better off than your average high school graduate and they any federal funding to go into that particular profession degree. The problem is that you have a lot of high social value, low monetary value professions out there that are impacted by this type of legislation.
Same thing with like childcare development.
Right.
There's a college, I think it's in Texas, and it's like, I'm not getting rid of that program, because I'd much rather know that I'm providing instruction and working things to help their kids.
Right.
Than to get rid of the program because it's low wage.
Right.
So I think I'm going to kind of move this along, because we really do.
I'll
We
rate
want to talk about things really quickly, because we've got some other business we've got to get to, and it's 11:03. So the next bill, House Bill 325, actually was heard in education yesterday by Rep. Brass. They tried to do this last year, and it got kind of caught up in a bunch of different things. What it allows for is it's either an ACT score, a GPA, or the attainment of at least 9 credit hours of dual enrollment courses prior to high school graduation to allow for eligibility of TOPS tax. So we think this is really good. It passed with no issue yesterday through the House. Robin, next.
And then we have House Bill 385 with, Rep. Bamberg. He's trying to make top three for the bill. Y'all are well aware that this comes up every 5-6 years. There have been umpteen bills filed trying to do this. None of them passed. This would allow exceptions, so, there is that. And it would be effective for 26 graduates.
You don't have to do. I mean, start any exceptions. This too, which is to have this exception process of your job. You don't have your work.
Exactly. Then we have House Bill 42, which is quite an interesting little bit. Rep. Turner has filed a bill. It includes the provisions from HB 325, Rep. Brass's bill. But it also increases the top step award amount to $4,500. That is more than a top excellent student would receive from base, so just to pay LC students. Which is interesting. It also provides that a top step awardee for acceptance, and so they are. Very important.
So House Bill 647, Brett Brass, what this does is gonna establish the administration of a statewide application for dual enrollment. This is something we've been working on for years. We have several institutions in the LCTCS system that have been using this and swear by it. It's so much easier for counselors. It's better for parents and families. And once it gets going, it's better for actually the institutions as well. It passed House Education yesterday as well. Next.
And then we have House Bill 678, that is cost of the hospital, we talked about it recently last year. And it did not go through, but Brett Turner has gone about the year that allows, doctors or individuals who want to go to medical school in the state to come back and use their jobs without losing their, eligibility that they would if they went out of state, even that they would have to pay. By which they here or. And then we have bill, House Bill 787 to remove the computer science requirement from the top school. It was just added and then it was pushed back to 2031 and now they want to remove it. OPHE and tech course. Don't. House Bill 935 makes it clear that the House on the campus of ULM is eligible to participate TOPS as long as they build through ULM. And then we have Senate Bill 105 from Senator Kathy. This bill was actually effective for 3 years, starting in 2020. But no one took advantage of it. We met with a representative from the booth a couple of months ago. And he had been talking to Senator Kathy about bringing this bill back to life, the provisions back to life. So what the bill does is it gives it sunset and eliminates the ACT requirement. It would allow any development discharged from a base in Louisiana to maintain Louisiana as their resident. And it's over at least 3 years to be eligible for it to stay.
And honorably discharged.
And honorably for uncared.
Yes, right.
But
Did they have to be eligible upon graduation?
no, it's different criteria.
Because they will have had 3 years of service in the military, and that's.
But is there ever like a slide or any of that kind of stuff?
Is there ever an estimate on a fiscal note on this kind of thing?
Oh, I don't know.
But don't say.
That estimate.
I just was curious.
And there's no way really for us to know.
That's right.
We don't know how many are discharged or basis. You don't know how many will take advantage.
When it was in effect for 3 years prior, and I don't know that it was used at all.
No.
So I do anticipate that they plan to really promote this. So we'll see, but it is only for TOPS 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only for TOPS 10. That's what the eligibility is for. Okay.
Yes, so Brett Freiberg has introduced a bill that would add to the list of convictions, that would be able to have if in order to receive the award. I listed all the bills there, or all the crimes there that they would be able to have convicted of and still be eligible. And then, Brett Barbadan has filed a bill to increase the age for MJ back to 20. Part of that is because of the age, not the age, the budget.
The money.
issues.
I mean, we have yet to get to the end of, maybe with the exception of the first year, I'm not sure, but. I mean, we get halfway through the year and we're out of funding, and so it's, I don't know, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Amount of funding since the second year.
Since the second year of the program.
The criteria.
That's right, and so every year they brought the age down, the stair step, right, they bring it down to increase more people, but we're running out of funding. So, we do hope that in the governor's, executive budget, there's an additional 14.5 million that's currently in the budget that we hope will pass. So we will have upwards of 25 million, which we hope will get us through the year, but what we want is to actually fully fund the year without, again, adding. We want this to be 21 and older, and then them to take advantage of TOPS 10 for those 18 to 21. So
What is it currently?
I
know there's been a down, but
19,
19, it'll be 18 next year.
it will go down to 18, which is, yes, and so, and we have, we have TOPS 10 for that, right, so,
Which would 21 would be when they get finished top 10, so that.
correct.
Exactly, and one other thing, the 19-year-old received over $1 million in the awards this
Thank you for that, I didn't know that.
year. Yes.
All right, and then our last bill is authorizing the Louisiana Tuition Trust Authority to contract with a contract manager to help with the administration of our SCAR programs. This is, we're very excited about this, and we're very excited about the way that our constituents will be able to access their funds in a much faster manner. So I'm excited about this. And that is our update, yes.
There's one additional one that I just want to call out.
Okay, sure.
Right here, there's also House Bill 229, which expands the use of legislative act to graduate program. So these are children whose parents were injured in the firefighter, police, and right now the tuition, wedding, housing, all that stuff. But also expand this to graduate programs.
Oh, thank you. We'll put that on our radar, thank you.
Brett, that'll be for, that is specified on our time for graduate school or?
It just says one grad program. Actually, I'm wrong. Sorry, 448. House Bill 448.
At 448.
Yeah, so the only thing it says is proposed law and option to use scholarship to obtain one master's. So, firefighter who was injured, killed one.
For his children,
And spouses of.
our spouse.
Including the chief investigators, a couple of years ago, an investigator was shot, serving a warrant, one of the 80 detectives, so whatever, I think y'all, these are people.
Let's move on to old business. As quickly as possible. First, go teach final rulemaking. Third final rulemaking to implement Act 59 of the 2025 regular session. Louisiana legislation removes the perspective Go Teach program. Anything to add?
Just a quick reminder, this may go teach a $1 program instead of less.
Wonderful. Motion to approve.
Motion.
Second. Thank you. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. Next, NJ Foster Promise Program Final Rulemaking. Consider final rulemaking to implement Act 152 of the 2025 regular session of the Louisiana Legislature with respect to NJ Foster Promise Program.
So this rulemaking just basically provides that the MJ Foster Advisory Council will decide programs for MJ Foster, Tots Tech, and Tots Tech Early Start.
Okay, motion to approve. Got one, second. Maple, and, in favor say aye. Nays? Motion carries. All right, TOPS final. Acts from the 2025 regular session of the Louisiana Legislature to consider final rulemaking to implement Acts 347, 268, 359, the 2025 regular session of the Louisiana Legislature. With respect to TOPS, TOPS Tech, and TOPS Tech Early Start, as well as designation of certain courses as equivalent to those required in the TOPS core curriculum.
Right. So this rulemaking implements the TOPS Excellence Award, reduces the ACT score for study students, implements the computer science requirement.
Right.
Right.
Actually, one previous one, but
Yeah, it's in here. And it adds some core equivalents, creative writing, IB psychology, and then foreign languages, Tagalog, Turkish, Urdu, and Western. Dutch.
Okay, that's.
hold that for us. Yes, that's your plan.
I said French.
I took French as well.
I did not. All right, motion made.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, second. All right, thank you, Christie. Any, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries. All right, new business, start rulemaking. Consider rulemaking to amend section 315 of the start saving program rules to add the applicable interest rates for calendar year ending December 31st, 2025.
And this is just the starting interest rates that y'all have to approve every year. It's required that it be put in statute. That, I mean, in regulations, that will continue even if the contract is entered, when the contract is entered.
Right.
So it will continue to be a requirement that it's done every year.
Yep. Motion to approve. Brad, second? I'll second. Thank you. All in favor, say aye. Nays? Motion carries.
That's why I was like.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well,
All right, TOPS, ACT exceptions. Consider the request for exception to the top statutory provision that requires a student to earn a qualifying score of ACT no later than the national test date in April of the year of high school graduation.
So, I'm assuming y'all had a chance to read some. We have a private high school that, scheduled the ACT test for a school after the national ACT testing. They had a lot of administrative things going on, and, they were unable to schedule until then, with conflicting things going on at the school. So they requested an exception for any of their seniors who might be taking it this year. Normally, when they do the whole school, it's just juniors. So there are likely to be very few seniors who this will apply to, but they have requested that be considered an exception.
Sounds good. Motion to approve. Okay, very good. Second.
I'll second.
Thank you very much. All in favor, say aye. Any nays? Motion carries. TOPS home study exceptions. Consider the request for exception to the top statutory provision that requires a student to begin a home study program no later than the conclusion of the 10th grade. These are our standard exceptions that we always have. Any questions about home study exceptions? All right, motion to approve those exceptions. Brad, second. Stop second. Jamie. Right, they will really get you at the next. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any nays? Great, motion carries. I think it's just, there's a lot of words on all of these exceptions.
They were all extremely, convoluted
Yeah.
this time.
All right, the next is TOPS exceptions. Consider the request for exception of the TOPS regulatory provisions that require students to remain continuously enrolled and to earn the annual credit hour required during the academic year. So also our standard TOPS exceptions that. And is there any discussion around any of the?
Thank you. First I have a question. Does the Board of Regents have the prerogative to overturn any of our exceptions that we grant?
They can,
Have they ever done so?
no,
They would. And referencing back to Representative Bamberg's Bill 385. I have noticed, it seems to me that we're getting a lot more exceptions that said this was just a little too hard for me and I didn't pay attention to what I was doing. That concerns me for many reasons, but I'm not on the front lines. I get some of the others, that are really involve, really exceptional circumstances. And do we have any numbers or other feelings that you have? Are we getting more of these, like post-COVID, or what did it look like pre-COVID? I mean, there's one example, and then I also still don't understand, because I'm not on the front lines, how you can have an award canceled in August and not apply for an exception until March. We have many of those that say, well, the award was canceled and now look what I'm doing. And then the number one on here is just a good model, because the line that
okay, so
parents had high expectations of the students. Are we getting, I mean, I don't have a feel, and maybe we need some data or something. Anybody else have some ideas? I don't know.
Well, I think I was also curious to visit. I know we don't see the denials essentially, because y'all are trying to be, so we get all of them here. I would be curious, like, what are we denying them on outside of like documentation?
we
that makes
denied several who did not provide backup information. Who simply sent in a form with some big checks and 2 sentences. This first one, we did have quite a discussion about this first one, and to your question, they are much more extensive since COVID. Much more extensive since COVID, and since schools have gone back to mostly in person. We're finding a lot of students are just not equipped to deal with having to navigate everything on their own on a campus as they were prior to it.
Is that our fault? Why should we continue to provide these exceptions?
It's not our fault. Absolutely, it is not our fault. In this particular case, had this student been able to see a doctor or a professor, more likely than not, we would have handled this in there's a phrase. But I handled it under one of the objective exceptions, temporary disability. But he did not see anyone and was not willing to go off to someone other outside of his family unit. So that is why.
I think we were just having a discussion, because it just seems like there are so many more, which makes sense. So it would be interesting to see like the numbers of like, this is the number submitted for COVID, post-COVID,
That's
denied, approved.
so regarding the specific issues for example.
I think I would like to be able to see also if we have or some type of data around it, if it's even.
I can send you, I can provide all of y'all with the different exception types.
That would be helpful.
Diving down to the specific detail of all of the exceptional circumstances is gonna take.
I think maybe just the general reasons would be helpful. I think we're just starting to see, even at the last meeting, we're starting to see a lot of. Oh, just was having a tough time, and I don't know that really warrants. It wouldn't fly in financially. right, for some minutes, and I know Brad made that point last time. So I think just maybe some data just to kind of understand, figuring out, because I know we don't see some of these at all. I keep it.
I mean, they have special cases, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then for my history of being on this committee, we have only, we've never denied any of these that have come to us. We always said that very strongly we're gonna email. Athletics.
Yes,
You know, and so I think for us as an advisory council, we should be asking for questions about the exceptions that we're starting to see. And it's, we need to start pushing back, I think, on the student and the college.
well, it is,
Providing support.
it is absolutely the prerogative of this board to deny. You can
Yeah.
one or more of things.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's just some things I see that just. I can tell you, in a top world, people would be in that same thing. Or at least I would consider them as, okay, these aren't ready to be decided on yet, because it doesn't feel like it fully gives you the whole picture. And I know these are summaries, right? Because we don't have all the details, but for example, number 3. We're talking about student enrolled in 12 hours at our 9 in the fall semester, enrolled in 12 hours at our spring semester. They're stating, oh, we'll change in major a couple times and less anxious. You're talking about a 9-month window that they did during these classes, they did try to go in summer. And I understand they're doing well now, but I would want like, okay, did you change your major multiple times across the full 9 months, or was it in semesters? Like, where, because when did that actually happen, and how did that relate to not being 3 hours, but they still completed the other time? You know what I mean? So like, it didn't impact them enough to they completed 3 hours out of 12. I'll be like, okay, there's a significant issue there, but they still completed 9 out of 12, 7 hours. Great, still pretty good. And then the other one that kind of stuck out to me is number 8, which was Cameron. So the student, same kind of deal, enrolled in 13 hours and then earned 10 in the fall, enrolled in 13 hours, earned 10 in the spring, enrolled in 6 hours and earned 3 in the summer. And he said, oh, we had trouble accessing one of his classes during the summer. Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind from me, you know, an appeal standpoint is what happened in fall and what happened in spring. You had an entire year to run these 24 hours, and you're only addressing a tiny fraction of that year to where you didn't requirements. Where's the big picture part of this? So this would be one in the SAP issue. I would send back to the student and say, hey, understand the summer, you don't finish full, what happened in spring and what happened in fall, because this is a cumulative evaluation. So that stuff like that, I'm just like, okay, where's the line? Where's the standard that we try to hold to and say, hey, well, so because this is a cumulative yearly requirement, make sure that you address any other hours stuff. And I'm not gonna be trying to get anybody, it's just, I'm seeing these, they're French.
I think we're just seeing a stark difference in
Right.
pre-COVID than what you're seeing. Yes, and I think that's been here the last year. So, yeah, so. What do you guys think? Everybody,
I mean, I
everybody
know
else
since
is like,
I've been
we're
out
like,
there. I understand what you're saying about pre-COVID, because we're 2026.
Right.
well,
So I mean, y'all been having a lot of appeals between 2021 and 2026.
Right.
Y'all been talking about the last 2 meetings, so, and again, this is, I've only been in this.
Yeah.
I've only been in this spot.
I
since
don't
November.
want to just see the numbers, because it's like, if I'm making this up, I'm good, because I'm just seeing them all right now, or is this like a?
But I mean, we've had 5 years since post-COVID. I mean, we say post-COVID a lot, but there's been a lot of time since post-COVID. However, the kids that you are seeing now are the ones that were in high school when they were in high school during that time.
Yeah.
You had a question?
I just, you were talking about like how it happened in August and then, you know, not until March. What I noticed about this in all of these cases is that it shows evidence that they earned successfully 15, like they're bouncing back from it. Like even though that it's been like, what's it called, like they've lost their award or whatever, they're coming back from it. Like, each one of them shows evidence of yes. Then when I was waiting for this, the advisors on the college campuses, I don't know that they know how much it impacts their TOPS award whenever they're telling them this. And so like, I think that's kind of where some of that, you know, hey, this is exactly how it impacts this. And that's,
So don't even get.
I'll speak to a personal experience. I was one of these kids because my roommate was killed my first semester and I received a letter in the mail. I did all the due diligence in it in. And so like I graduated as an honors graduate, less than 3 years. So like I was able to do that because I was able to get my tops back. So I'm gonna fight for those kids too.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm looking for evidence of even those situations that y'all brought up. I'm looking like they bounce back. And so I think that's the whole purpose of what we're trying to do is to give them another chance.
Sure.
But I do agree that we're seeing more of them. However, when they were in high school, supposed to be learning these key like coping mechanisms, they didn't get it. And so, and then they're not, and everything is social media and phones now. We didn't have that when we were in school. So like, I feel like they're having to learn it, but also there's a part where the university is like, those college advisors, this is nothing against them, because I know as a counselor, it is a lot on you. But like for them to really understand when because we could take up to, once 12 hours, we could take as many, like up to 18. Well, now you're having to pay for that. I learned that a couple years ago. So when that goes down, like they just don't understand the impact long-term of how that affects, like, oh yeah, your grades, but not your hours. Like, that's the part that just needs to be connected some kind of way. And that's not us, but I'm just saying in general, that's what I'm also seeing.
I would maybe propose that, just like we did send a letter about athletics, maybe we need to send some, I would approve specifically, but I feel like just as we have administrative capability for managing our Title IV funds, we also have capability for managing our state dollars. And that is a campus-wide responsibility. And so if we can maybe somehow get some communication out to the colleges and not just the financial aid officers, it's like it needs to go broad.
Well, there's different types of advisors.
Exactly. So if we send it to the system offices, again, we could figure out how to write it, but we've done that in the past. And so maybe it's time to maybe do something like that again, just as a reminder to the colleges that you do play a role in this somehow, and we're seeing a lot of exceptions for these reasons. And so maybe
I'm actually going to a conference because it's Monday and Tuesday. I got a scholarship because like the SACAC college advisor, whatever, is gonna be there. So if I see people, I'm gonna also mention that to them as well. Monday and Tuesday or Sunday and Monday.
But, what I think we can do, that's what I was just going to, is try to do some outreach to the academic advisors.
Yes.
Or, if try and figure out, okay, who is over all of that advisors, and is it by different, school? Is it the College of Engineering and the College of Business has their own different person? Try and get in touch with those folks and disseminate information. Because we've done that in the past, and there are a couple of schools that know. And that will write letters and say, my bad, I messed up.
Yeah.
Well,
But there are other schools who will straight up say, I didn't tell you that.
and that's what I said, you get a lot of, I've been buying students every years to do that, saying, your copies are, get them provide a letter saying, hey, they did X, Y, advisor. Absolutely, I'm not saying that.
And the other thing I'm learning, because I have two, well, one's out semester, but I have two at Southeastern, is that the advisors will often tell them when they're advising them on what classes to take, whatever, that they are not a financial aid office. So they're not going to advise them on any scholarships or financial aid whatsoever, because they don't want that liability.
Yeah.
That's the ones who said, I am not, it's not my fault, I'm not writing that letter,
Yeah.
So, but they will, when they go to advising these students, they're advising them on the next semester. And another thing too is a lot of times with the advisors is like, when we went to Oregon, not in Southeastern Friday.
You're
It's like you go into this big room in the library and you sign up for your classes and you sit down with an advisor. Well, that is not your advisor that you have during your, to continue on through the rest of your college career, or even your first and second year till you hit your courses. It's not, it's like, and I know you have to get them there and get them registered and stuff, but that was one issue I had, is like, you're advising the student, but it's not the student that's gonna be with you, for your freshman and sophomore year, so.
So I think you all have to decide what you're gonna do this time. We've presented some to you this time, and we can certainly get you some information on,
To make sure.
we can do that.
Yeah, all right, do I have a motion to approve the current?
I do.
extensions? Thank you, second, great, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Great, motion carries. The next meeting is on April 16th. That is it, motion to adjourn. Motion, second, all in favor say aye. Any nays? Motion carried, here, thank you guys.
Thank you.